What is up, you guys? So, very truthful video. Last year, 2021, was actually proclaimed by a lot of people, mentioned by a lot of people that it was the worst year ever. Even worse than 2020, COVID, the arrival of COVID, the year of the arrival of COVID. That is true somewhat. Why I say somewhat is because it really was a terrible year. Really. But here's the truth part. It's really going to open you guys' eyes. There are years to come. Excuse me. There are years to come that are going to be even worse. Worse and worse and worse and worse. If you think one year is really, really bad and the worst year you've ever been in throughout your entire life, just know that there's another year coming soon. Might not be soon, might be in the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, something like that, that will actually be even worse. Financially, emotionally, like you might lose your job, lose a crap ton of percentage of your savings or whatnot. Emotionally, as in you might lose loved ones to death. You might figure out that you have an internal disease, a fatal disease that will end up killing you in a short amount of time. Those can definitely, will. It's because death is irrelevant or inescapable. Death is an inescapable reality. We're all going to wake up someday and think that I have so much time left until I die, and that's the day you find yourself dead. Or you wake up and somebody calls you on the phone and say, hey, your sister, your brother, your mother, your father, one of them died. Maybe even a few of them. Or you go to the doctor and they tell you that you're dying. You have a disease, you have cancer, right? So that right there, cancer is not always for people. It's possible, yes, but it's not everybody's going to get cancer. Thank goodness, because otherwise nobody would be living a very long time. And I'm not trying to offend people by saying that. Okay, maybe that was a real crap thing for me to say. Sorry, I didn't mean to make it sound bad before saying it. But when I said it, it just sounded kind of cruel. But it is definitely an inescapable fact that one day you're going to wake up to your loved one or someone or pet animal passed away. That is an inescapable fact, unfortunately. And that there's really no year that can be worse than that. So 2021 It is true that it was a really bad year, worse than a lot of the other years, but it's not going to be the worst one out of your entire life. It's the worst year you think is the worst year will be actually a very, very great year compared to a year that's truly, truly worse and worse than that. Because what's worse than a year finding out that somebody in your life died? A loved one, a pet, an animal, something like that. A financial problem, what? It's only a matter of time before you get that news. So people really haven't been in a year that is super, super bad until they have been in that situation. I don't really see anything worse than that, though. Well, if you're a Christian, that is. If you're unsaved, then you can look forward to the reality of hell. But if you're a Christian, then there's nothing really worse. No years that could ever be really worse than a family member or somebody dying. Because death is the worst thing somebody can go through in this life. In the physical realm. But not the spiritual realm. The second death, the lake of fire, is worse than anything at all. So people say last year was the worst year out of all the years that they've lived. To a degree, yes, but not to all the degree. Some people have lost people to COVID. Some people have lost their homes or whatnot to COVID. But there are still going to be worse things to happen to other people who have not experienced those things that I just mentioned. To the people who did, there's not really anything worse than that. But to the people who had not dealt with what I just mentioned, years are still going to be really worse to them when they get the news of somebody dying, or that they can't have a job anymore, or that they have an internal sickness, disease that's fatal or whatnot. But so yeah, I mean, I just had to make this video. People complain about things like, oh, this year sucks, it's the worst year ever. But I mean, you think, not you, but the people who think that, if they had anybody die or financial problems or whatnot, they think it's really, really horrible, right? But they have to place themselves in the shoes of people who have lost people that year, or have had financial issues that year. And they're complaining about it being a terrible year. People have had that year be a nightmare, an unawakeable nightmare, an unending realistic nightmare. So people who are complaining about that year should be thankful that they haven't gone through what other people have, but they will eventually. They will eventually. It's sad. It's a horrible truth that people die all the time, and it's only a matter of time before you or somebody else loses loved ones until you get that phone call saying, Mom, Dad, your brother, your sister, your animal, they died. So, It's not my intention if I offended any of you guys. I'm just naming out the truths. The truths. And very soon we will be out of this world and in the presence of glory, for all Christians that is, in the presence and the glory of Jesus Christ forever and ever and ever in heaven. And there's not going to be any death, there's not going to be any pain, sickness, sadness, depressions, sorrows, only joy, happiness, peace, love, bliss. Nothing bad, nothing imperfect. So when I go through tough times in my life, I just have to cling to the hope, cling to the fact that someday this is going to all be over. Someday this is all going to be over, and it's just like it would be all just a distant memory, all just a bad memory. It will all be over very quickly. Compared to eternity, 100 years in this world, this lifetime feels like 1,000 years already, right? But compared, even if this year lasted 1 billion years, yes, I mean alive for a whole billion years. That's possible, I know, but I'm just making an example. 1 second in eternity would, 1 billion years would be absolutely not even a second compared to eternity. It wouldn't even be a second, not even a millisecond. Wouldn't even be wouldn't even be like 0.0 and 1 billion 0.1 second. Not even that. 1 billion years would feel non-existent compared to eternity. Eternity is so long, so long, and without ending. That that 1 billion years would be gone super duper fast. Very, very quickly. When I said I want to feel like a second long, sorry, I misspoke. This year, if this life lasted 1 billion years, 1 billion years seems like a very long time to us in this physical realm, right? But compared to eternity, it'll be over in like this. A blink of an eye, and then it's over. You probably even quicker than that. Yeah, not even last a second. No, I woke up a few hours ago, and my body's still waking up. It won't even last. Yeah, my bad. It won't even last. A trillion. It won't even last 0.1 trillion 0 seconds. It feels like a very long time, but the Bible mentions our lifetime as a vapor of smoke. A vapor of smoke. Just one blink of your eye, and that's it. That is it. So I hope you guys enjoy this video as always. So yeah, talk to you later.